As you're getting set up, you may want to create not only a space for yourself, but include any props that you may want to help make yourself a little bit more comfortable during the practice. You're going to see me using bolsters and blocks and so forth, but you can certainly make use of rolled up towels and blankets to create the same sort of support. All right. So we're going to start seated, comfortable seated posture for you, whatever that may be. Thanks for joining me today. This recording is going to be available as well all weekend via Stowe Weekend of Hope's YouTube channel as well. So you can always come back and revisit it at other times as well too. To help get started here, we're going to do something that's called cupping and blinking. This can be really helpful when the eyes are feeling dry, and certainly when the eyes are feeling more or less tired. And this creates just a warmth and relaxation for them, and again, helps to create some of that moisture. So the first thing we're going to do is start rubbing our hands together. And as you rub the hands together, you start feeling that heat really creating into the body and into the hands specifically. And then you're going to take and place the palm of the hand over the fingers. Over the eyes, with the fingers then reaching back towards the crown of your head. Focus on that feeling and that sensation of the heat transferring to the eyes. And then when you no longer feel that heat, go ahead and release the hands away. Slowly start blinking, fluttering the eyes, until finally you can fully open those eyes from here. We're going to try that one more time together. Again, rub those hands together. And again, you're going for that sensation of heat. So you want to feel the heat being created within the hands, and then placing the palms of the hands over the eyes, fingers reaching back towards the crown of the head. Keep them over the eyes as long as you can feel that heat transferring. And then when you no longer feel that heat, remove the hands from the eyes. Slowly start blinking those eyes open until you can fully open the eyes. Nice. I'm propped up on a bolster here to create a better line of comfort between my knees and my hips. You can also be seated directly on your mat as well. To help settle ourselves and bring us into the practice, hands can rest on the knees here. If that feels comfortable, palms up or palms down. And if it feels comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. If it's not comfortable to close the eyes, softly gaze to the floor. And then see if you can silently count back from 30 here. Again, as a way to help bring you into this afternoon's practice. And then begin to deepen your breath. Inhaling through the nose. You can choose to exhale out with either an open or closed mouth. If it is difficult to focus on the breath here as a way to help calm the body, you may instead want to incorporate the use of a mantra. Mantras are words or phrases that we recite rather repetitively to ourselves as a way to bring focus within our practice. The mantra I've been using over the last 7 weeks, developed based upon the world we're all experiencing around us, is I have breath, I am balanced, I am okay. It's important to recognize the breath that we all have, as not all of us are enjoying that same breath at this moment. And it's important to recognize that we're all striving for balance. I feel like every day I am going between overreacting and underreacting to everything that's happening around me. So just trying to remind myself of the balance I'm striving to achieve between these two thoughts. And then the idea that I am truly okay. Things are not perfect. Things are not even where I want them to be at this moment. But knowing that I am okay, my family is okay, and we continue to move forward in this moment. I have breath. I am balanced. I am okay. So you may want to continue to use this mantra, a mantra of your own, or maybe keep the focus simply on your breath. But use it as a way to attempt to escape all the other outside thoughts that tend to travel in and out of the head. Throughout our practice here together on the mat this afternoon. Now on your next inhale, opening your eyes, you're going to take your left hand either to your right knee or thigh, and you're going to place your right hand back behind you. I'm propped up on a bolster, so I'm placing my right hand on the back of my bolster. You could also use another form of support there. If you're not having any support below the hips, you may be taking that hand directly to the floor back behind you. And then the idea is to turn open to the right side. And then keeping that left hand where it is, inhale now and draw your right arm over your side body. So here the idea is to try to lift your chest open to the ceiling. That nice collarbone lengthening there. And then as you exhale, lower your right hand down so that both arms now cross in front of you. Chin tucks in. Draw the stretch between your shoulder blades. As you inhale, lift through the head and neck. Take your left hand back behind you. So again, trying to lengthen through the spine here as you turn your torso, your chest, and your chin. And then keeping the right hand where it is, inhale, draw the left arm over the side body. Again, lifting your chest open to the ceiling. Exhale, breath, lower that left hand down again so the arms cross in front of your chest. Chin tucks in, draw the stretch between your shoulder blades. We're going to release the hands here, but continue to keep your chin tucked to your chest. And then on your inhale, begin to roll your right ear to your right shoulder. So we're going to do a full circle around here, nice and slow as you release your head back. Drop the left ear to the left shoulder, and then release the chin back down. Inhale, roll your right ear to your right shoulder. Nice and slow as you move through this. Drop left ear, left shoulder, and then release the chin down. We're going to reverse the motion now. Roll your left ear back to your left shoulder. Slow as you release the head back. Drop right ear, right shoulder. And then release your chin down. Last one here, roll to the left side. Releasing back. Drop right ear, right shoulder. And then release your chin down. Inhale, lift the head and neck at center, and we're going to exhale into tabletop, so all fours. You're going to take and draw your wrists under your shoulders, and you want your knees to be under your hips. If you have any sensitivity in the wrists here, you may want to use blocks instead and take your forearms, elbows onto your blocks. This is going to help release that tension from the wrist here. Otherwise, the idea is, again, that the hands are directly below the shoulders. And we're going to shift through cat-cows now. So on your inhale, dropping into your belly, lift into your chest, and then look straight ahead. Exhale, breath round through the spine, grounding the palms to the mat below you. Inhale, belly drops as the chest lifts. Exhale, round through the spine. So continue to move here on your own breath. Full inhale to drop into the belly. Full exhale to run through the shoulders and spine. Cat-cows are a wonderful warm-up for a yoga practice. They do a great job of opening up the spine and the neck. But it's important to know that they also allow the lymph to really begin to move through the body. Opens up especially into the arms and into the torso here as well. Again, it's about linking the movement of the body with the breath. Now, after your next exhale breath, you're going to return to a neutral spine. And we're going to focus on stretching into our shoulders a little bit deeper. I'm going to show you 3 variations of this. Each one will progressively get more challenging. So if you find one is not right for you, stay with the previous version of this posture. So for the first one, we're going to take our left elbow and forearm down to the mat. And again, you could even have a block there to support that if you like. Taking that forearm down, you're going to inhale and bring your right arm up to the ceiling. Now your gaze can follow that right hand. It's going to help lengthen in the neck. Or look to the mat, as that's going to be the least of the extension then through that neck there. So nice long length, starting to open up again into the chest and collarbone. And then as you exhale, release the right hand down, and it's going to take the place of the left forearm. So taking the place of the left forearm here, we then inhale and try to bring the left arm up. It may be that the arm comes all the way up. It may be that the arm comes off to the side. All depends on what that shoulder's feeling. But we're trying to lift up so that we can find, again, that length into the chest and collarbone. Now, as you exhale, go ahead and come back down. So we're going to take the next one a little bit deeper. If you prefer, you can repeat that variation. So for the next one, I'm going to create a little bit of space here between my right wrist and my right knee. Now, as you inhale, lift the left arm up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, see if now you can take that left arm all the way down to the shoulder on your mat. So you're trying to find length here. This is called threading the needle. Right palm is grounded down. Seeing if you can shift all the way down onto that left shoulder. Otherwise, you're remaining on that left forearm. If you wanted to lift here through that right arm, you could do that as well. We'll create more restriction for the neck, so it may be that it feels more supportive to keep that right hand grounded as you're turning your nose to the floor. All right, come back to center, and then let's take this on to the opposite side here. So we're going to create space now between the left hand and the left knee. Inhale, bring that right arm up. Exhale, try to send the right arm underneath the left arm. Again, doing your best to come onto that shoulder. Any tension through the neck, turn the nose to the floor. Otherwise, looking out past that left or right palm. You can also lift the left arm into the air here if you like, but again, be mindful of the tension it creates on the neck. And then inhale, come back to center. So from here, we're gonna do one last one, and this incorporates the legs as well. And again, you can repeat any one of the previous postures if you prefer. So from here, what we're gonna do is extend the right leg out. So as you extend that right leg out, you get this nice long extension and you start opening up your inner thigh here as well. Again, space between the left wrist and the left knee. Inhale, bring the right arm up. Exhale, see if again you can thread the needle, sending that right arm underneath the left, coming all the way down onto the shoulders. This is a huge stretch, maybe more than you're wanting today. Remember, it's the same stretch as before. You can draw that knee back in if you prefer. Don't feel as though you need to keep the leg extended. And then inhale, come back to all fours. We're going to take this to the opposite side. Left leg extending now, same idea. Getting that inner thigh stretch, creating space between that right wrist and right knee. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, send that left arm underneath the right arm, seeing if you can shift all the way down onto the shoulder. Again, big stretch. You figure out where you want to take it to. Again, what can you breathe into? And then inhale and come back to all fours. We're going to focus on stretching next into the toes. From tabletop, see if you can turn your toes under. So my big toes are touching here now. And with my toes touching, I often have to draw my little toe out in this variation. We're stretching not only the toes here, but starting to shift into the stretch of the fascia of the feet. So you're going to either keep your palms grounded here and see if you can push back, draw those hips out over your heels so you get that nice long length again into the toes and the fascia of the feet. Or if you feel like you can take a little bit more here into the knees, you're going to see if you can come to sit up on the heels. So there's a big difference between being between these two postures. So if it feels better, keep the palms grounded. If you feel like you're somewhere in between, you can even take a block or other support, maybe a pillow or blanket, and bring it on the back of the Achilles calf and use that to help prop the hips here so you don't have quite as deep of a stretch. Otherwise, again, keeping the palms grounded, I still get this wonderful stretch as I push back into the feet. Then from here, we'll come back forward and we'll release the toes back to the mat. We're going to come into child's pose next. This is our resting posture in yoga. So it takes many different forms for many of us. One option is to try walking the hands forward as you keep the hips aligned over the knees. Often I'll take a block here then below my forehead for support. Another option is to try to draw those hips again back out over the heels, either sending the arms forward or taking the hands back to the heels. Again, there are so many variations in child's pose. You may be familiar with another variation that you like to bring into this now. You can always do that. What's important about child's pose is that it remains a resting posture in our practice. It's a posture that once again allows us to connect with our breath. Maybe connect with any mantra you set at the beginning of the practice, and allows you to check in with the body. What are you feeling? Are you feeling the neck here? Are you feeling the shoulders? How can you create further release in this posture? How can you breathe deeper into the posture? See if you can match the length, the sound of your inhale to the length and the sound of your exhale. On your next inhale, you're going to return to tabletop, all fours, and then bring your right foot forward between the hands. You may have to take the hand behind the calf to get in place, almost like you're coming into a lunge. Turn those left toes under as we did before and step your left foot forward to meet the right. Tuck your chin to your chest. Feel length through the backs of the legs, really feeling those hamstrings open here. And then on an inhale, slowly roll up, bringing your arms overhead. Exhale and release your hands to the sides. So we're going to come through some sun salutations to help start really warming the body and building that energy. We're going to start with half sun salutations, and then we're going to add in a sun salutation that includes lunges to start waking up the hips. I don't traditionally teach down dog in these types of classes. It can have some contra effects being in an inversion posture. So if you'd rather have down dog, find places that you're allowed to kind of bring it into the practice for yourself. All right, so that being said, here we go. Feet are grounding down, all four corners of the feet. And as you inhale, slowly bring the arms up overhead. Take that right hand around your left hand, around your right wrist. And as you exhale, pull over to the left. As you then inhale, come back to center. Now take the right hand around the left wrist. And then exhale and pull over to the right. Inhale here, come back to center. Exhale, breath, slowly release the hands down. Knees can bend if you like to bring them lower. And then on your inhale, slowly rise. Coming back up, lift the arms overhead. And as you exhale, release the hands back to your sides. We'll come through that again. Inhale, bringing those arms up. Take your left hand around your right wrist. Exhale, breath, pull to the left. Inhale, come to center, changing hands now. Exhale, breath, pull over to the right. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, breath, releasing the hands down. Remember, knees can bend or legs can lengthen here. Inhale, rise back up, root into those feet as you reach the arms overhead. Exhale, releasing the hands down. We're going to move now into those lunges. So as you inhale, bring your arms up overhead. So we're not going to do the wrist stretches anymore. And as you exhale, release the hands down, thighs, shins, maybe all the way to the floor. On an inhale breath here, look out and try to create a flat back for yourself. And then as you exhale, release the hands down, taking the right foot back, bring your knee to the mat. Inhale, root into the left heel, top of the right foot, adding into the balance. See if you can bring the arms overhead. On the exhale breath, release the hands back down to the floor. Inhale here, you're going to step the left knee back to meet the right. And then as you exhale, bring your right foot forward between your hands. Inhale, root into the heel and bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, breath, release the hands back down to the floor. Inhale, we're going to draw that left foot back up to the top of the mat, meeting the right. Exhale, breath, tuck your chin in, feel the length through the backs of the legs. Inhale, slowly rise, bringing your arms up overhead. Exhale, breath, releasing the hands down. Once more, inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Exhale, breath. Release the hands down, thighs, shins, maybe the floor. Inhale, look out, create your flat back. Exhale, breath, taking that right foot back, bring your knee to the mat. Inhale, root into that right foot and then the heel of the left. Exhale, breath, releasing the hands back down. Inhale, we take the left knee back to meet the right. Exhale, you bring your right foot forward between your hands. Inhale, hug the thighs together. Notice how that helps the balance as you lift the arms overhead. Exhale, breath, releasing your hands back down to the floor. Inhale, bringing that left foot up to meet the right. So again, top of the mat. Exhale, breath here. Tuck your chin in. Feel your weight shift towards your toes. Inhale, breath, slowly rise. Bringing the arms up overhead. And then exhaling and releasing the hands back to the sides. We're going to step into triangle and start working on our hamstrings. Right foot coming back, so both legs are lengthening here. Right toes are drawing out to the side of the mat. Left toes are facing the top of the mat. Both arms extend either side of the body. Inhale here, arms extend. Exhale, reach, and then release out over this left leg. I'm bringing my right arm into the air. Depending on what that shoulder's feeling, you may want to take your right hand onto your hip. And I can also lift my gaze up to the ceiling, or I can lift my gaze down to the floor. Again, that's going to help me release in my neck. If I want to use support here, I can take the block on either the inner or outer edge of that front foot and use that support underneath my hand to help support me. If you don't have a block, water bottle can work really great to help support you here instead. Nice long side stretch here. Root back into the feet. Really feel the ball of that left toe grounding down as you lift to come all the way back up. And then exhale, we're going to step to the top of the mat. Taking this onto the opposite side, you're going to step the left foot back. I'm just going to change the direction of myself so I can be facing the camera still. But we all should have our left foot back at this point. So now right toes facing the top of the mat as the left toes face off to the side. Again, extend the arms on your inhale breath. Exhale, reach, release out over that right leg. And again, if you're using the support, you may have it on the inner or outer portion of that front right foot. Maybe gaze looking up, maybe hand releasing to the hip. Stay focused on the breath. Inhale, root into both feet and come all the way back up. We're going to spin now to the left side of our mat, and you want your feet to either be parallel here or to get a deeper stretch to your inner thigh. You may want to draw the heels wider than the toes, so toes turn in, heels turned out. And as you inhale, extend the arms either side of the body. Exhale, take the hands to the small of the back as you lift through the chest. On an exhale breath, slowly begin to release the head and chest down towards the floor. Now you can slide the legs down, or you can be taking the hands to the floor in front of you. So maybe holding on to the calves here, or maybe coming all the way to the mat. I could even take a block again out in front of me and have my hands resting on the block here as well. We're going to add in a bit of a twist here. So you're going to take and ground into the left hand. And then as you inhale, bring your right arm up. Place weight into the outer edge of the left foot. So you're really feeling that inner thigh lengthening. Gaze up towards the ceiling or look down towards the floor. Any discomfort on that right arm, hands can come onto the hip as well too. As you exhale, right hand comes down, takes the place of the left. Inhale, reaching that left arm up. And again, you can follow the gaze up to the ceiling. You can look to the ground. Hand can come to the small of the back, or you can continue to keep that arm lifted. Feel weight drawn to the outer edge of the right foot. So really feeling that adductor open up here. And then from here, slowly bringing those hands back down. We're going to walk back to the top of our mat now. So turn those left toes and right toes to face the top of the mat. Bring the knee down, take both knees down, and we're gonna return then to our tabletop posture here. So all fours. Being in all fours now, we're gonna find child's pose once again. If you like down dog and you would rather have down dog in your practice, you can take that instead. So taking those hips back, maybe arms forward, or choosing to keep the hips lifted if you prefer. Take yourself into your child's pose. Focus on the breath, focus on the release here. Maybe recalling any mantra you set. I have breath. I am balanced. I am okay. And then from here, we're gonna lift and we're gonna return to our tabletop posture, all fours. So coming into tabletop once again, remember, if you're taking the pressure off the wrist, you're gonna have those blocks underneath your forearms. Otherwise, palms are directly below the shoulders. Pulling the belly in, we're gonna give some focus to the core here. And on your exhale breath, see if you can lift that right leg back. Toes can also be tapping down here as well. If you're able to contract further into the glutes, see if you can lift the toes from the mat. And notice that my foot is flexed. That means my toes are turning down to the floor. They're not turning out and they're not pointed back. When they're turned down, I start to feel that flexation into my calf. So I'm really feeling length there into that lower leg. And at the same time, when the toes are turned out, I'm not engaging through my core. So instead, I want to turn the toes to the floor, hug the thighs in towards one another, and that's going to give me that engagement in the belly. If this is feeling stable and okay, you could add into this by extending the left arm out. So right toes extend back, left arm extends forward. Another way to take this to work the belly is to keep both palms grounded. Inhale, you're looking straight ahead and the leg is extended, but as you exhale, bend the knee, turning your gaze towards that right knee as you bring it into your chest. And then inhale, extend that right leg back, looking out. Exhale, knee comes to the chest as the gaze follows that right knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw in. We'll release the knee to the mat. Also release the hand if it was lifted. Coming into this on the opposite side now, we take and extend the left leg back. So with the left leg extended back, again, toes are turned down so that I get the length into my calf, and also thighs are hugged in towards one another so that I'm able to engage through the belly. If I feel stable here, I extend the right arm out in front of me, adding into that balance. Again, look to the floor to help you find balance. Try to stay stable in the hips. Another way to add into this, both hands stay grounded. Inhale, look out, lengthening in the necks. Exhale, you draw the gaze to the left knee. Inhale. Extend, looking out. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw in. From here, release the knee down, release the hand down, and we're actually going to come to seated on our mat. So coming to seated on the mat. From here, we're going to take and bend into our left knee, and you're also going to bend into your right knee, but you're going to try to take your right foot back behind you. So what ends up happening is this left foot more or less comes to rest on your right thigh here. And we're going to start here in a twist. So I'm going to take my right hand onto my left knee. And I'm going to take and walk my left hand back. Now I can look out over the back left shoulder, or I can look out over the front right shoulder. So this gives me a stretch then into my hip. Again, where I gaze is probably going to affect the stretch that I'm feeling into my back and potentially into my neck as well. From here, we're going to release the twist and we're going to take a deeper stretch into the hips now. So taking that deeper stretch into the hips, we're going to keep our left hip dropped, but rather than having this left foot resting on this right thigh, see if you can shift your shin so it's more parallel to the top of the mat. So you have a nice right angle now between the left heel, left knee, and left hip. And then from here, see if you can slowly start coming forward into the stretch. So this is a stretch for what's called your piriformis. That's the muscle that's located directly below the gluteus maximus. Pretty big stretch here. You're feeling it into that outer hip rotator area. If you're familiar with yoga and you want to take a deeper stretch and actually shift this into a full pigeon, you could extend that right leg back and lift off the left hip. I want you to be mindful of this left knee though. If extending into that full pigeon creates stress on this front left knee, it's better to keep that right angle and again, release forward into it so that you stretch into the hip without putting any extra stress on the knee. I'm so happy you're here, Sarah. And then from here, we're gonna take and come and lift right back up. So we're gonna add in one more twist to this sequence. We're gonna draw the right foot forward and we're actually gonna place that right foot in front of our left ankle. So taking a twist here, inhale and draw your right arm forward. Exhale, take the right hand back behind you and try to lengthen through your spine as you turn your torso, your chest, and your chin. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, let's change sides. Starting that sequence over again, the right knee will now come forward. Left foot comes back behind you. So again, this right foot is now more or less resting on your left thigh here. Starting with a twist, we take our left hand onto the right knee. Right hand comes behind you. Now you can either look out over the back right shoulder here, or maybe you want to gaze out over the left shoulder instead. All right, we look forward now. You're going to shift your shin. So again, it's more parallel to the top of the mat. Again, think of that right angle between the right heel, right knee, and right hip. And then see if you can start coming forward, trying to release down into this. If you want to take this into that full pigeon, lifting off the right hip and extending the left leg back, you can. Otherwise, if it feels like too much to lower, keep the torso lifted here. If you do lower, I like to attempt to use some sort of support below my forehead. When the forehead releases down, the neck releases then as well too. And the importance of that is this sends a signal then to the body when the neck is releasing that the rest of the body can release as well. Slowly come back up. You're going to take the left foot forward now. So as you bring the left foot forward, you can take that foot and place that foot right in front of the right ankle. Right hand can come to that left knee and then take your left hand back behind you. So again, trying to place some weight into that back hand so that you're lengthening through the spine as you turn to the left side. All right, inhale, look forward. And then as you exhale, we're gonna release, and we're actually gonna take ourselves down onto our backs now. So as you come down onto the back, the feet are gonna be grounded here. Extend the arms. This is going to really work the core. If you'd rather have support as you lower down, take your hands behind the thighs. You do want to focus on drawing the shoulders away from the ears. It's really easy here to start lifting those ears to the shoulders. So keep the collarbone chest nice and open. Now on your exhale breath, slowly begin to release down. Once you've come down, you're going to pull your knees into your chest. You may even want to rock side to side here. If that doesn't feel comfortable, feel free to stay at center. If it feels good to rock side to side, you may want to take and extend your arms to a T, or even take what's called cactus arms, where you bend at the elbows and release the back of the hand to the floor. And then from here, we're going to start deepening this a little bit. So maybe sway a little bit further over to the left. And inhale and come back to center. Exhale, swing a little bit further over to the right. So I'm not really releasing the knees fully down here. Instead, I'm slowly taking them over to a point where I know that I can pull them back. You're really going to feel that obliques start to work here. Strengthening in this posture. It's always an inhale to center and then an exhale to drop to either side. Now, the next time that you come to the left side, you're going to completely drop the knees all the way down. So it may mean that you're taking your knees all the way to the floor, or it may mean that you're taking the knees onto support here instead. You can take your right hand to the outer edge, left hand, I'm sorry, to the outer edge of that right thigh. Now you can look up to the ceiling. You can look out over that right hand if you prefer, what feels best on the neck here. And then inhale. Come back to center. Exhale. Now try to do the same on the opposite side. See if you can drop the knees all the way over to the right. Maybe support below those knees if you like. You can take that right hand at this point onto the left knee, left thigh. Apply pressure there to help further draw it down, deepening that twist that you feel. And then inhale here and come back to center. Exhale, release the feet down to the mat. So we're going to take what's called a reclined tree pose now. So tree pose, a more iconic posture in yoga. It's where we stand on one leg and bring the opposite foot into that standing leg. So to mimic that here, see if you can fully extend your right leg out. And if you can fully extend the right leg out without compromising the spine, see if you can then bring that left foot somewhere into that right leg. This is going to allow that left knee to fall open. Now, depending on what that left knee is feeling, you may want to actually take a block to help support the thigh here underneath that knee. You can also use any other support, couch cushion or otherwise that you may have to help support that knee. If you're noticing that the small of the back is lifting from the mat here, you kind of have that gap where you can place your hands underneath. See if instead you can focus on pulling the lowest of your back ribs down to the mat. It's going to help you engage here then through the belly. That means then the belly is helping to support you here rather than the back. And so you're really engaging into that belly. Again, think about drawing the lowest of the back ribs down to the mat. If instead you're still feeling like you're compromising through the spine, bring the right foot down to the floor instead. With that right foot grounded, this is going to give you then that ability to pull the low back further down to the mat. If you're not using the block, you're thinking about releasing that left knee down as much as you can so that you can feel this opening through the hip. And then we'll change sides. So the left leg will extend here now. And then bring that right foot in somewhere to that left leg. Maybe you're taking support underneath the right knee, or maybe you're allowing that right knee to completely come down to the floor. Maybe you're extending through the left leg, pulling the lowest of the back ribs down to the mat, or maybe you're grounding that left foot down. This is, again, all about finding opening through that right side. So into that right inner thigh, which we call our adductor, and shifting into the outer edge of that leg as well. From here, we're going to ground both feet down. So as you ground both feet down now, again, knees point up to the ceiling. At this point, we're going to move into what's called a supported bridge pose. I'm going to be using a block for this. If you don't have a block, you might want to use a rolled up towel, rolled up blanket, anything you can use to help support the low back. If you're not doing it with a block, you're going to engage through the shoulders for this posture. So using the block, I'm going to root into my heels and start to lift my low back from the mat. And then I'm going to insert the block. I'm going to be using the block on its lowest height, but you could be using it on any one of the 3 heights. And so as I put this block in place, I'm going to release my low back, specifically my sacrum, down onto the block. So the sacrum is located just above the tailbone there. You might have to play around with it a little bit to find where it feels most comfortable for you. Once the block is in place, see if maybe you can extend the legs out. Now you can do this one leg at a time, or you can do both legs simultaneously. This is going to create a big line of stretch here then for the front of the hip. Again, this is called our hip flexor. If it feels like too much, ground one foot down as you extend through the opposite leg, or continue to keep both feet grounded here instead. If you're feeling okay with this and you're actually looking to add in a deeper hip stretch here, keep the left leg extended and instead try to draw your right knee into your chest. Now I've taken a hold behind the knee, interlace the fingers here. I could come around the front of the knee as well too to do this. The idea again is to pull the right knee into the chest as the left leg extends away. I could also be planting this left foot down as well. Again, that idea of pulling the lowest of the back ribs down to the mat to help engage in the belly. And then we're going to change legs. So I'm going to ground the right foot down, see if I can draw the left knee into the chest. I can catch behind the knee or come around the knee, and maybe I can extend that right leg out. My heel is grounded here. I'm not lifting or engaging further. The engagement comes from pulling the back ribs down to the mat. I have breath. I am balanced. I am okay. And then from here, I'm going to release both feet back to the mat. This last one is for quads. And so we're going to get into that front thigh here. To shift into this, you may want to remove the block from the back or support that you have there and keep the hips completely grounded for this. If you have any support underneath the hips, it actually intensifies this stretch. So it all depends on what you're already feeling in the quad. So grounding into the left foot, you're going to slowly start to slide those right toes behind that left heel. Sometimes you have to slide the left foot forward in order to get that heel in place. And then from here, I'm going to see if I can start dropping my right knee down towards the floor. So the knee probably starts lifted, but as I drop that knee down, that's where I'm going to get that deeper stretch. This is for the right quad and into the right hip flexor. Again, if it feels too intense, try it without the block. And then at that point, If it's still not feeling right, hug the knees into the chest. Don't feel as though you need to add this in if it's not feeling right on those joints. Now let's try to change sides. So what I'm going to do is ground the right foot down. And then again, I'm going to see if I can slide the left toes there directly behind that right heel. And then I'm going to try to drop the left knee down towards the floor. It's a very targeted stretch, so you may be noticing quite a difference between your sides. We don't often walk evenly in our posture, so the idea is that we may be feeling this more intensely on one side versus the other. And then from here, we're going to take and release that left foot down as well. Engaging in the core, root into the feet. If you still have the block underneath the back, you're going to remove it now and place it off to the side. Let's now pull the knees into the chest here. You can rock side to side if that feels comfortable. You can also stay at center as well too if that feels better. And then from here, we're going to take and bring the feet first to the mat. See if now you can bring the soles of the feet together. So this is called a reclined bound angle. A couple things to keep in mind here. It's going to be a pretty intense stretch for the inner thighs. So you may be finding that you want to take support, again, using blocks or otherwise, underneath those knees. Otherwise, you're allowing the knees to completely fall away from each other here. Again, soles of the feet have come together for this posture. And I want you to, again, think about the back. So often in this posture, we allow the knees to fall away from each other, trying to drop the outer edges of the knees down to the floor. This can sometimes be at the expense of our back. As we try to release the outer edge of the knee down, sometimes it creates further gap, again, where we can place the hands underneath the spine. Instead, you want to think about pulling those ribs down to the floor, the small of the back drawing down to the mat so that you feel this belly engaging here. Again, abs and back work in an inverse relationship. So when you're engaging in that belly, you're allowing the back to release here as well. Hands at this point can rest on the belly. They can rest on the floor. It's really all up to you. This will be our last posture prior to Shavasana in our practice. So if you would instead prefer to come into another final stretch, whether it's legs up the wall or another stretch that you like to add into your practice, you can feel free to do that instead. See if in these final postures, you can either keep the focus on the breath, maybe counting your breath here, maybe beginning as we did, closing the eyes if it's comfortable, and seeing if you can silently count back from 30. Or again, bring yourself to that mantra if you set one at the beginning of your practice. I offered the one that I've been using. I have breath. I am balanced. I am okay. At this point, you may want to stay exactly where you are, or as we begin to shift into Shavasana, you may find it feels better to extend the legs out. I'll offer that typically when I take Shavasana, this final posture, this is our conscious rest posture. I typically take support below my knees. Now I can fill that gap between below my knees. I could use blocks. I could use a rolled up blanket, a rolled up towel, even a rolled up mat I may have, bolster, couch cushion, anything to just fill that space below the knees. For me, it creates a better line of comfort. You may instead decide you want some support below the head, especially if you notice that as you recline, your chin tends to lift above the forehead. That's going to put undue pressure on the neck. So by bringing even the smallest of support below that neck, it can help keep then the chin and nose more in line so it's not as deep of a stretch there for the neck. but find a place that works for you. In this last posture, again, it's conscious rest. We're doing our best to stay aware. At the same time, we're doing our best to remain as thoughtless as we can. We may notice thoughts coming in and out of the head in this final posture. We're told to acknowledge them, but then bring our focus back to whatever it is that's allowing us to relax and release here. Sometimes it can be as simple as trying to focus on the breath that's coming in and out of the tip of the nostrils. You can bring the sensation and focus to what you're feeling in a particular area of the body. It may feel comfortable to close the eyes here. It may feel better to softly gaze down. But do your best now to start completely releasing into your breath. See if you can allow that natural wave of breath to take over. You may even want to bring your hands onto your belly here so that you're then noticing the rise and the fall of the belly as that natural breath starts moving through the body. To end today, I want to share with you some words from Jan Richardson, taken from The Cure for Sorrow. To all that is chaotic in you, let there come silence. Let there be a calming of the clamoring, a stilling of the voices that have laid their claim on you, that have made their home in you, and that go with you everywhere, but will not let you rest, will not let you hear and feel your life with wholeness. Let what distracts you cease. Let what divides you cease. Let there come an end to what diminishes and demeans. And let depart all that keeps you in its cage. Let there be an opening into the quiet that lies beneath the chaos, where you find the peace you did not think possible, and see what shimmers within the storm. Right hand can stay on the belly, left hand could lift to the chest. Here noticing the rise and fall of the chest, coupled with the rise and the fall of the belly. And then taking both hands to the mat, palms facing up, coming into full Shavasana. Slowly start to come back to your breath. Begin to wiggle in your toes and your fingers. Bring your feet together at the bottom of your mat and allow your hands to come overhead. Coming into one final stretch as you elongate the natural curve of your spine. And then hugging your knees into your chest, roll to one side. Pausing here, notice the peace you've created for yourself. Take this peace with you and recall it during times of tension throughout your day. And then coming to a seated position with your eyes closed and your hands coming together at your heart center. Recognize your strength. Recognize your flexibility. Recognize the peace that you've created for yourself. The divine in me sees, recognizes, and honors the divine in you. I have breath. I am balanced. I am okay. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, for joining me as part of the Stowe Weekend of Hope. There are countless presentations throughout the weekend, the next 3 days, so feel free to check them out. Almost everything is being recorded as well, so if you miss a session, you can also go back to it at any point in time. It'll be posted on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me.